The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, Nick. Can you hear me?
Hi, Richard.
Yeah, is it clear?
Yeah, it's quite clear. I can hear you well.
Okay. You can hear me clearly, yeah?
Yeah, there's a touch of background noise, but
Okay, I'm going to leave it on this mic because there's a short video at the beginning and it works with the computer mic, so I'm going to leave it on that, yeah? If the quality is
okay.
Yeah?
All right.
I'll take you off mute now and wait a little bit for everybody to log on, yeah? Okay?
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so hello and welcome everybody. Bonjour, buongiorno, buenos dias, buen dia, guten tag. That's about the limit of my languages. I'm hoping you can all hear me correctly. I'm just going to wait for another few minutes for a few more people to log in. While I'm doing that, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Richard Ellis, Business Development Manager for PRI Research Institute, also known as the PRI, and I'm here to give you this presentation today on taking your microbiotic medicinal products to market in Europe. So we're going to go through, here's a list of them, what we're going to be talking about, how I've structured this presentation. So firstly, I'm just going to quickly show you a quick video. It's very short, please don't worry, it's not long, about what the PRI, what we did several years ago. And it's quite interesting because it gives you a real grasp of how things are developing in the human microbiome marketplace. Yeah. Then we're going to go on to what the PRI is about and its membership, regulatory situation, partner platform, what our members say, a brief introduction to our future expansions, the membership, and then some conclusions. Okay, so I'm just going to wait one more minute because I just want a few more people to log on. Okay, yeah, I can start to come on now. So, okay, so this is human microbiome. So here's a video that PRI created several years ago now. And it's interesting, but please just bear with me and watch this quickly. Yeah.
The microbiota is the community of microorganisms that inhabit the human body. Health depends on a balanced communication between the microbiota and human cells. When this communication is disrupted, Sometimes this leads to disease, such as ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, and pancreatitis. Doctors and patients need a new therapeutic approach via the microbiota. Microbiotic medicinal products are a new type of drug for which the active substances are microorganisms which are capable of preventing or curing such diseases. However, European pharmaceutical regulation was developed with chemicals in mind, and so the current regulation is not adapted to microbiotic medicinal products, which are in fact microorganisms. The PRI was created to help its members negotiate this difficult regulated situation, as well as to bring together the players in the microbiota and human health. We support our members in every aspect of the development of microbiotic medicinal product by taking a comprehensive approach to solving the problems associated.
Okay, so I've stopped that there because I've heard that the sound isn't brilliant, but I think what was really important for me in that video was, back in 2005, I think it was, when we did that video, we were talking primarily with regards to our clients, our members, the products which we were dealing with were Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, and bacterial vaginosis, vaginal problems, And since then, I think, we can all see the way that things have developed, now when we talk about human microbiome and all the various pathologies that are linked with it, we have a whole host of different connections: autism, metabolic disease, NASH, central nervous system, gut-brain axis, allergies, asthma, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, C. diff, immuno-oncology, which is looking huge at the moment. And, I'm sure some of you out there are even more expert than me in this, will probably be able to come up with some more links as well. And I mean, the other day I was reading an article that I found on the internet around the gut-eye axis. And believe me, I didn't get the chance to read right through that. But, it just shows how this sector, this space is really growing. Okay, so I think from there, I'm going to go on now to tell you a little bit about the PRI and our membership. Okay, so here's a few simple initial facts. We were formed in 2010. We're an association, a non-profit association, so an NGO, and we're independent. So what that means is that we're an organization representing the microbiota and the human health industry. That independence is critical in order for us to make a difference with regards to the various regulatory authorities that are involved in taking these products forward. Okay. So our initial ambition when we were founded in 2010 by the founder members was, well, they all felt that the future for probiotics in particular was not just as food supplements, which I know perhaps some of you out there already market them as that. By the way, we're not about that. We're about taking this down the medicinal route, and these founder members felt that there was a future for probiotics as medicines. Okay. Now, some of you know there are some probiotics which are registered as medicines from pre-2001, and they've been on the market since for many years as medicines. But now, since 2001, you can't do anything. There's not been a particular route or any guidelines to take probiotics to market as medicines. Okay. So we represent the industry in future discussions regarding the evolution of the regulatory framework for medicinal probiotics, which are now called live biotherapeutic products. And I will refer to them as LBPs as we go throughout the presentation, for those of you who are not aware of that. Okay. So our scope, well, we focus on the European pharmaceutical regulatory framework, and therefore on European markets. And for the moment, we're about Europe. Okay, I don't know what the future will bring, but for the moment, we're about Europe. Okay, but however, we support members from Europe and also outside Europe. And recently, we've been bringing a lot of new biotechs and startups and other companies as well on the supply chain side onto our membership, who are looking to either register their products in Europe or take part in, doing that. Okay, so we're located in Auvergne, in France, in a little tiny department called the Cantal, one of the least populated parts of France, right in the middle of the Massif Central. Surprisingly for some, there's a real expertise here in the development and production of probiotics and also medicinal probiotics. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go on to our membership. Yeah, so sorry, a little bit more here. PRI, we're in the middle of nowhere and it's great. This is a picture of the PRI, which is an emblematic mountain. It's pyramid shape. It goes up to about 1,800 meters, and this is the north face. And although this picture was taken in the middle of summer, you can see there's still some snow remaining on that north face, which doesn't get much sunlight. Yeah? And you can also see clearly here lots of pastures. Yeah, very green pastures, and it's a part of France where transhumance is still takes place, and they take the cows up into the summer pastures in the mountains in the summertime. Yeah. Okay. And this here is the Salaire cow, which is a little bit of a sort of 4x4 cow, which is exported all over now, actually, into different countries around the world. And I don't know if there's any Irish people on the presentation, but they will know that this particular cow is being seen more and more in Ireland as well because of its very hardy nature. It's used to eating grass, which not necessarily can eat all sorts of stuff. It's very tough, resistant to wet and warm weather, and also it's very good at giving birth to cattle. Very little levels of fertility at birth as well. So it's a real top cow, and well, it also makes fantastic meat for any of you meat eaters out there. And of course, yeah, okay, so this is where the link is, yeah, milk. So to be honest, these days, most of the milk in Cantal also comes from the Frisians and those sort of cows as well, but we have a lot of grass, and because of that, we make a lot of cheese. And this is the Salaire cheese, which is an AOP cheese, which is selected cheese, very famous in France, delicious. But what else do you get when you from the cheese industry? Well, yeah, you all know it, don't you? Yeah, bacteria, probiotics, right? And that's the reason why we're here, because several of our members, founder members, have factories here. Biovidis, L'Allemand. We've also got some companies in the area, Unifatic and Biofilm Control. We're also founder members, and lots of academic institutes as well that you can see here. So all of these people here came together in 2010 and founded the PRI. Yeah, okay. So originally only 12 people in the 12 organizations in the association. And that quickly changed, yeah. So this is us now, in excess of 60 members, and we're made up of a variety of different, companies. Really, we've got traditional probiotic companies, whether they're making the products themselves and taking them to market, or companies which are actually, just making the products to be taken to market, or the companies that are just taking them to market. You can see here some of our members who are working on that side of the makeup of the industry. We've got pharmaceutical companies as well. We have Johnson & Johnson, Ferring, Bristol Myers Squibb, Ipsen, Roger Medica in Italy, and IPRI in France. And this is clearly an area where we need more participation. We feel that if we're going to make this happen and get these products recognized as medicines, then we need to bring in more of the big pharmaceutical companies, because that's something which will really help to make the authorities sit up and listen a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. And then we have a lot of startups and biotechs. Here are some of our biotech and startup companies. All of them doing different types of making different types of probiotics, which are LBPs, which are used to treat different pathologies. And Chayla's Health here, for example, they're working on the metabolic side, so RNC. But then, if you go to 4D Pharma, they're working on the guts and also immuno-oncology. Microbiotic, well, they're not so sure what they're going to be doing yet, but it's very, very, very deep science. So very interesting. Cialta in the States, who are working on skin, Yun as well, Skin Biotherapeutics too. Synologic are on recombinants, and so the list goes on, and it's growing and growing. We also have a lot of people within the PRI who are working on the supply chain side, enabling companies to take these products to market, and they're all involved in all the various different things that are needed to make these products. Yeah. And finally, the academic institutes. So we've got several of them throughout the world, and all of them, again, interested in what's going on in this sector, and interested in being involved in our other members. Yeah. So what have we been doing? Why have we got so many new members? Why have we grown so much over the last 8 years? Well, clearly we've been doing something right, I think. And I think this is something which we set out when we first started. That we needed a strategy, and initially task groups were put together by the founding members of the PRI, and they said to themselves, right, what are we going to do? So initially they thought, well, maybe we could attack the lobbying route, and they soon got a bit of a slap in the face with regards to that, because it was going to be very, very expensive, and they were never convinced, to be honest, that was the right way to do this. And however, after several meetings and getting together around a table and banging their heads against the wall, they came up with the idea that the real way to make the change was to go down a more pragmatic regulatory route, and to identify those challenges, and then to get talking with the European pharmaceutical authorities, in order to become a recognised representative organisation. So what are those authorities? Well, you probably all know: EMA, European Commission, European Pharmacopoeia. Okay, so after a while, we realised that we had to come up with a collaborative approach in order to make these changes. And how do we do that? So, well, this is how we do that. We've got this unique collaborative approach, and what does it involve? Well, firstly, what we decided to do was to choose with our small to medium enterprise members a product from which to do a scientific advice dossier. And why? Well, because some of you probably know this. It's 90% cheaper to do a scientific advice with the EMA if you're a small to medium enterprise. Okay, 8K rather than 80K for a big pharmaceutical company or a big development company. Then from doing that scientific advice, the idea was that we would take the knowledge gained from that particular exercise, and then feed it back to the whole of the membership. Our regulatory affairs and scientific director, Cordaillat-Simmons, is the person who does this. We do 2 dossiers a year, and we've been doing it for the last 5 to 6 years now. So I think this year we'll be up to 12 scientific advice dossiers that we've done. And by going through the actual process with our member company, Magali then takes out the confidential information and feeds back the knowledge gained to the whole of our membership. Yeah. So we've developed and we maintain our own guidelines, and we're not sure, but we think we're probably the only people in Europe who have done this process. So it's a comprehensive platform for your microbiotic medicinal products, and our offer on the regulatory side is basically continuous efforts and discussions with those representative pharmaceutical authorities, okay, at both EU and also national level. Yeah. Okay. Now it's good to do it with the EMA because it's all decentralized and we can make a bigger impact. But we've also realized that, it helps to work on the national level as well, because this can peter up to the EMA level as well and make a difference. So continuing participation in several task groups working on standardization. So Magali has been getting involved with the European Pharmacopoeia. She sits on the recent monograph, which is brought through, been cleared and is coming out now. She was an expert on that with the European Pharmacopoeia. Okay, scientific and regulatory advice dossiers. So we're doing these every year, and we're going to the EMA and the national authorities throughout Europe and saying to them, look, this is what we've got to give to you. Something has got to change. We've got to do something. And slowly, these people are starting to listen. Okay, and regular updates of our guidelines for industry according to the results that are obtained through these scientific and regulatory advice dossiers. Okay, and then this is something which brings enormous value to our members, and I don't think there's any of them who would say the contrary. Magali goes on site with every one of our new members and also regularly throughout the years to update them, existing members, and she gives them a workshop, an on-site training to talk to them about the guidelines and to apply that specifically to their particular product and their particular drug development. Yeah. Okay. So this is what we've been doing on the regulatory side. Okay, that's now I think what we can clearly see is that the whole of the process of taking a drug to market is a long and difficult road if you want to do it on your own. Okay. Now again, love this beautiful photo. The one up there is not the Cantal. That's somewhere in the US, I think. perhaps Monument Valley or somewhere like that. And this is at the back of the PRI in Cantal, yeah, okay. We can see a team of people walking in the mountains, and we're making reference to the fact that it's easier to do things when you work together, yeah, okay. But you need strong expertise and you need a global vision. And I think what we're saying basically here is that the conductor, in order to go through this whole thing, is the PRI, yeah, okay. So we're going to move on from there now, and this is, what we have now got members in the clinical trial process, okay, yeah, several members in fact in the clinical trial process. But I think more importantly, we've got them here at stage 3 because of the work and support that we've been giving them, yeah, okay, and not all the people are aware of this in Europe, but we've got members who are at stage 3 clinical trials, yeah? Okay. So what we realized is that after a few years starting the association, what we realized is that not only was there a need to bring together people who were working as, developing drugs, looking to take them to market as medicines and make a difference on that front, but also we realized that, we had a pretty diverse membership, yeah, okay, and that, they were all looking to progress. And if you look at the slides which I showed you earlier, we have companies on here who are not just working on the regulatory side, but people who are working, as non-regulatory companies which are working within the supply chain and looking to get involved with the other companies and stuff. Yeah. So what do we have? We have contract research organizations, contract development and manufacturing organizations, bioinformatics, sequencing companies, encapsulation, packaging, all sorts of other consultancies, and I'm sure that we're adding different types of companies onto our membership all the time. Yeah. Okay. So we decided what we needed to do was to develop another type of membership for the PRI, something which was there to let these people come in and be part of our network. Yeah. Okay. So what do we have? We formed the partnering platform. Okay. This used to be called the technical membership. It's now called the partnering platform to line up a little bit with the conference that we have every year. So what's the partnering platform about? Well, this is our offer. Yeah. So it's about continuous networking assistance to our member companies. Okay. That's in the form of myself, who I am involved on a continuous basis with all of the various different members of the PRI who are looking to meet with our other members. Yeah. Okay. And examples of this are at different conferences around the world where I go and meet up with new members of the PRI and introduce them to our network. Yeah. Okay. Well, perhaps they're sponsoring or advertising or just they're visiting themselves as well. Okay. We also do webinars for our member companies as well to promote latest developments in science, et cetera, and this is something which also enables the membership to expose their what they've got to offer. Yeah. Promotion and identification for new partnerships. So I think I mentioned that earlier. That it is all part of the networking assistance. It's about enabling people to come together and collaborate. Yeah. All of our members of the partnering platform and also the regulatory members as well get discount for our conference, Microbiotics event, which is held in Paris pretty soon, 14th to 15th of March. Okay. It's also a B2B networking platform. I'll talk about this shortly as well. Okay. Access to our various technical task groups. So not only do we run the networking and also the regulatory side of things at PRI, we also meet up several times a year to choose some subjects to talk about which we think are relevant and need to be addressed within this world. Yeah. And those people get together around a table then, all the various members who are interested, and talk, and we try to provide a position paper. Okay, so discounts for the Pharmabiotics event, yeah. So this is the Pharmabiotics 2018 conference in partnering, okay, which is taking place again 14th, 15th of March. Please try and be there. So it's a conference, and we have lots of interesting people who are talking around the LBP and other associated microbiotic medicinal product market. I think we're perhaps a little different from a lot of the other conferences that are out there, and that we're not always seeing the same faces. We try to introduce people who have got new ideas, and we have a very strong conference committee, scientific committee, which we feel makes a little bit of a difference with regards to the things that are presented at the conference. And it's an exhibition as well, so we have several sponsors who are coming in to offer their products. These are pictures from last year at the Palais Brongniart in Paris, the old stock exchange. And also the partnering event. So pretty soon, for those of you who have already registered, there'll be some software. You'll be able to receive an email from our promoters, I2 Media, and they'll be giving you this software. You can organize meetings between anything from 10 to 30 different meetings per day, where you can get together and meet people who are at the event and form up partnerships and collaborate. Yeah? That's what it's all about. So on from that, I spoke to you about these technical task groups, and I strongly believe that this is a really excellent addition to our association. It's about making a difference with the regulatory authorities, but also in the medical field. It's about patients associations. It's about stakeholders in this space. Yeah. And what we do is we propose topics every year. Key safety aspects in the development of LBPs. That was one a few years ago. State of the art of microbiota knowledge and product developments according to specific pathologies. And this we did last year, where a team of experts within the PRI membership came together and decided to look at the microbiome right from conception through to old age, and from the angle of, from small childhood right up to old age, from being in the mother's womb and everything else. And it was an excellent adventure initiative, because I not only did we, case of strict anaerobes and their specificity, public health, importance of LBPs, ATB resistance, long-term evolution of microbiota after ATB treatments. And I think, what I've really noticed, I've sat in these meetings, and it's like a very intense, intimate affair. And what's great about it is it really is great for forming networking opportunities as well. So I've seen it in action. I've seen people coming together and forming partnerships at these events, So at the end of it, we try to publish a position paper, and this stimulates interaction with the membership. So here we are now. We're talking a little bit about the what our members say. Yeah. Okay. So this is just 3 other members of the PRI. I'm not going to list. I have lots more to list, but this is Colette Short. She's Global Regulatory Director, Johnson & Johnson, big pharmaceutical and also cosmetic company. And Colette, the PRI is my go-to source for European regulatory and policy information and practical insights in the development of microbiotic medicinal products. And it's great to be part of such an enabling network of technical expertise in this emerging space. Stanislas Dijonka, our CEO of Bios Industries and one of the founders, and also the treasurer of the PRI. PRI was founded over 7 years ago with the intention of changing the regulatory landscape for medicinal probiotics. Since then, we are in excess of 60 member organizations, and I am deeply convinced that if we want to grow this space, and this is really important, I think, all companies and academic institutions have to join together to make a difference. And that, for me, is a very important part of the concept of the PRI. And finally, Jaime Lopez, excuse my pronunciation, Pharmaceutics Platform Manager at Ferring Pharmaceuticals in Madrid. The PRI is the key leader in helping us to understand and develop new regulatory guidelines for probiotics as pharmaceutical products. And I think that pretty much says it all with regards to what we've been doing. So now on to potential future expansion for our association. A few years back, we got our heads together, did a working group, and looked at how we could expand. And we decided to approach this as Microbiotic Medicinal Products. And that was taking a step from being a company that pursued everything around LBPs, live biotherapeutic products. And we decided that in the future, maybe we need to start looking at expanding into different products, yeah? And I think mainly other technologies emerging from the understanding of the microbiota-host interaction, yeah? Okay. Now, that really means, and I haven't put everything down here because it's not decided yet as to what we're going to be attacking, but I think some of the areas which we feel we can take our footprint and apply it to things like, clearly phages, also dead cells, I think, those are 2 of the areas which we're seriously considering taking our footprint to, and we feel that there's something to be done there, very much so. All of them have got regulatory challenges, and we've been working for the last 8 years on LBPs, and we feel that the footprint we developed, the concept, this concept of collaboration and going down the scientific advice dossier route is a really interesting way of adapting to that. And finally, we're looking into developing roundtable workshop meetings on a regular basis in different member countries or locations. This is in order to stimulate discussion, interaction, and also to make all of our members, wherever they are in Europe or in the US or Asia, as some of them are now, to bring them into the fold and to give them the opportunity to talk and discuss and be part of the PRI. Okay, so here's the membership, yeah? So I mentioned to you that there's two different levels of membership at the PRI because I think, as I said, there are those who are looking for the overall regulatory assistance, and this regulatory stuff here, regulatory members membership, it encompasses everything, including the partner platform here, yeah, okay? So there you've got the figures there, yeah? So it's, if your turnover is less than 3 million, yeah, it's 3,000 a year. If it's between 3 and 10 million, it's 7,000. If it's over 10 million, it's 10,000 a year. By the way, this is based upon the group turnover, yeah, okay. And finally, the other membership, the partnering platform, which is about the networking, it's about doing webinars, it's about meeting up with the regulatory members and other parts of the PRI and being part of this so that you can form collaborations and partnerships to take those products to market. And that's the partnering platform. That's €1,500 a year. And, I think an absolute bargain, actually. So, in conclusion, I think we can certainly say that the human microbiome space shows enormous potential for medicinal products. I think the fact that you're all on here means that you probably agree with that, or at least it's part of the way to agree with it, The PRI has an established membership with which to represent the human microbiome supply chain. I'm absolutely convinced of that, having been involved in the association for the last 2 to 3 years. PRI is recognised as the representative organisation by the European Commission, the EMA, and European Pharmacopoeia for LBPs, and we think microbiotic products. The PRI is the meeting point for all actors seeking pharmaceutical regulatory knowledge and support for LBPs and microbiotic medicinal products. And finally, for all actors seeking partnership and collaboration in this arena, we are the network promoting and developing the human microbiome supply chain. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're coming towards the end of the presentation. This a very interesting panel discussion, internationalization of regulatory issues, what needs to be done, which will be taking place at our conference, Pharmabiotics Global, where you've got Professor Sin Hyog Him from Postec, you've got Colette Short from Johnson & Johnson, you've got Katia Merton-Lentz, who is from Keller and Beckman LLP on the legal side. You've got Charlotte Hemmingson, a really senior regulatory affairs expert from Christian Hansen, who I'm sure you all know about. Our own Cordaillat-Simmons from the PRI, and Marie Limner, who is from Novartis. She's a senior member of Novartis. Yeah. So on that note, I'd like to say thank you to you all. And this is me again. Yeah, you see my contact details there. And you will also see that in the bottom of your the presentation that there's a questions panel. And if any of you got any questions, then please feel free to write them in there, and I'll try and answer them. So over to you. Any questions? Yeah, please write the questions in the question panel. See some people putting their hands up. The best way is to put the question in the question panel at the Okay, they're coming through now. So I've got a question here from Eleonora. What about your position in respect of big food supplement market in the EU? Yeah, so Eleonora, to be clear, we're not about food supplements, yeah? Well, the PRI is about the medicinal route, yeah? And I think, you've got the International Probiotics Association, who have got a European branch who are dealing with the food supplement side of things, but that's not our area, you know. So Nasita Sano, Nasita, yeah, hi, focus on you. What about other countries? So at the moment, we're about the European marketplace, yeah, okay. The future, who knows? We feel that what we've been doing is successful. However, can we take that into other countries? I don't know, but it's something which we're looking to consider over the next couple of years. Amy Smith, okay, can you give me information on what the dossier is comprised of? Yeah, well, okay, so there is actually information on the EMA website about that, but it's about taking through the product through the whole process. Amy, I can get back to you with some information on that, and I'll email you to talk about that in more detail, because I'm not really the one who was involved in the sort of face-to-face work around the scientific advice dossier, but I will get back in touch with you about that. We've got your email for the registration and stuff, yeah. So in that note, I think any other questions, please feel free to write them down if you have any other questions. No more questions? Okay, anyway, you can see my email address there. Please feel free to get in touch with me if you have any other questions, or if you'd like to, consider membership of the PRI. But I'd like to thank you all, and wish you all an excellent day. And yeah, have a great day. Bye-bye now.